Good morning, Cecil. How are you?
Hey, Cecil.
Hey, coaches. How are you?
Okay,
Good.
how are you?
Good.
Have you got the dogs walk this morning yet, Cecil?
Not yet. Y'all calling early.
we get you up to our dogs even way. Cecil, tell us about what Mike Slive meant to you and the SEC, and I guess in sports in general in this country.
Well, he was always, personally, he's always kind to me, always accessible. Was one of those people that always didn't just remember a name, but cared about you and would ask about, what was going on in your life, what you were doing, and really tried to engage with people in that way. I think he came at a time where college sports was about to from a financial standpoint was really about to explode, and had experience, had been the commissioner of Conference USA, knew how to position the Southeastern Conference, had good relationships with the television partners, understood the landscape of expansion, moved to the SEC into especially Texas, but Missouri as well. So I think he was just sort of the right person at the right time. Was not a brash or confrontational person that, like you sometimes see. He was a compromise builder. He could work a deal behind the scenes. He was, and yet he always had the best interest of the Southeastern Conference, I think, in his mind.
Yes, that.
With the move playing Texas home and home, I don't know who will be the football coach. Maybe Coach Saban will be. Are we because of the tax situations? Are we going more towards that if we can, or if schools can? Pardon me, not we, but athletic directors to sort of be able to keep the boxes, I guess, so to speak, that are already built, and also to see season tickets be bought every year.
Sure, if you're going to pay with the premiums, with the Tide Pride or whatever donor program is, $300, $400, $800 a ticket average. You average out that donation and the ticket price. It's got to be worthwhile to people to do that. Now, Alabama and Texas, or Alabama and Notre Dame, are schools that are in a position to do that and attract big live audiences. You're just not going to get the same. There's more of a trend to home and homes for everybody. At least one on their schedule, if not two. So you don't get the same pop, and I'm not going to single out a school, but if you get Kansas playing Rutgers, that's not going to turn anybody on. But you get Alabama, Texas, or Alabama, Notre Dame, then people want that ticket. It's an event. It's something that can carry your entire season package for a year or two. And you've got to find, if you've got 100,000 seats, you've got to find a way to do that.
Yeah. Good point.
Cecil, is that, I know they got Louisville this year, Duke next year. Is that neutral field game to open the season? Is that going to go away?
I don't know. We'll see. As long as people are making money on it, it won't. And, I think it's been very successful for Atlanta. It's been very successful for Dallas. I don't know how this Orlando trip is going to go. We'll see when September gets here, how that is. But, that's a lot of money that you get on a one-time paycheck to play those games. In Alabama's case, $4 or $5 million. So as long as that money is available, I think you'll see Alabama do as many of those as they can. But I think you'll see it intermingled with the home and homes. I don't think that you'll see exclusively one or the other, the way that it's been for the last 10 years, when they've really been exclusively or virtually exclusively playing neutral site games.
I'm saying, I guess, would they do it in 2022 and 2023 when you already have Texas on the schedule? Would they?
I'd be surprised.
Yeah.
I'd be very surprised. Then at that point, you're taking on. You've got 4 conference road games, even if it stays at 8 games, plus the year. Let's say 22, plus you've got a road game at Texas.
Right.
Then you put a neutral site game in with that. Well, then you've only got 6 home games, plus you've got 6 really tough road games.
Yeah.
So that's not that's not very likely. I think the years that you've got Texas on the schedule or Notre Dame on the schedule, people are just going to have to be understanding that you're also going to have Weber State and Northeast Minnesota and teams like that.
Yeah, that
is it. And I don't know what's going on. I think Greg Burns are doing a good job. Is it feasible to make some changes at Coleman Coliseum?
If you put enough money into something, anything's feasible. When you talk to Greg about it, he says that the bones of the Coliseum, the basic structure is still sound. It's 50 years old, but that you can still, without blowing it up and taking it to the ground, there are still things you can do. Now, what you've got to look at is how much that's going to cost you versus how much raising it and then rebuilding a new one would cost you. I think they're a little bit confined now on their location, that it's going to be where it is. So they may do some things. There may be some changes coming that'll help the traffic flow. Maybe the parking we'll have to see, but I think they're limited a little bit in that way as to what they can do. But they could do a renovation or a remodel and could reduce the capacity a little bit, or at least restructure the capacity where a lot more of it is in luxury boxes, and it would actually hold less than 15,000. So that's one of the things that they'll look at.
Yeah. Well,
again, this has just changed so much from the 80s in football and basketball. Just because you have such a television presence and it's such a television product that it's just hard. And Alabama's got some great basketball fans, but it's hard to get on the road on a Wednesday from Florence or from Montgomery and knowing that it's going to be on television at 6:00. You're right. That's a tough thing.
Yeah, especially 6 or 8. Those are 6 is too early and 8's too late.
Never can be 7, can it? You can't put it at 7.
No.
It'll be 6 or 8 or 8:30.
Cecil, Dad's got a big task tonight, and I think he's worried about it. Maybe you could help give him some material. We're going to be down.
I don't need any material.
We're going to be down at the Jimmy Rain banquet tonight, which is a great cause, raising money for kids to go to college. But they're going to all roast, and Dad's the MC. Gene Stallings, and he says that Gene is sensitive. Do you have any advice for Dad roasting Gene Stallings tonight?
Well, for one thing, Coach Stallings, he's got a sense of humor. He's been through these things before. Plus he's getting older, so he can't catch you if he chases you.
No, he's hurt. He can't get me.
You'll be able to get away from him.
Yeah.
Ask him about ask him whatever happened to his raccoon.
Okay. I'll ask him that.
He used to bring they had a raccoon that he used to bring up to the football building sometimes.
Well, he had a pet raccoon?
Just ask him whatever happened to his raccoon. Tell him ask him whatever happened to
I'll ask him.
To Gerald.
Well, I'm going to have to, I'm going to have to be, I'm going to have to be sarcastic in the whole thing because he is not not looking forward to this.
I can tell you plenty of things you better not say. I'm not going to say it on the air.
Well, I think that's what he's worried about.
One of them I'm going to use.
I can give you a long list of topics and individuals not to bring up.
One of them I'm going to use is inability to pass football.
He'll survive that. He'll weather.
Dad, you might want to run some of these by Cecil before you do them. He may can tell you what.
I mean, I've got to be very careful. He's already said that Ruth Ann's coming. In fact, Annette's going to sit with her. But he said, Wimp, he said, you can't be ugly. He said, Ruth Ann's coming. And I said, well, tell Ruth Ann not to come. and he said, so I don't know. I think I need to be sarcastic through the whole thing in order to whether you can't really tell whether I really feel that way or don't feel that way. We're leading off with Coach Saban and the coaches, and then we got Woody McCorvey, who was the offensive coordinator for him. They didn't have a passing coordinator back then. And then we have Tommy Maxwell.
Just tell him I said that Coach Saban may have 100 assistants and analysts and film breakers and graduate assistants and executive assistants, but ask him how many raccoons Coach Saban brought in there on the staff.
All right, I'll ask him that.
Ginger had one.
I tell you what, they got a big crowd, and I'm Barry's right. I'm dreading it.
Well, they're good friends. That might be ending tonight, Cecil. So you may have an article coming up.
Again, fortunately, I think Coach Sanderson knows what I'm talking about. There's just a few things you just don't need to. No. You just don't need to mention.
No, you're right.
But yeah, tell you, it's great, and tell him, hey, he won one national championship, which puts him in third place at the school in the last.
Yeah, get him a statue.
Yeah, they did. They built him one. Good thing he squeezed in when he did.
Oh, he sure is.
You got to raise the bar on football because you got to have 5 to get a statue.
Oh, sure. I'm surprised he got a statue. Of course, I'm not going to say that.
Well, everything I say, I love Coach Stalling. Was glad to get to see he was here for his Rise Golf tournament. Was glad to get to see him the other day.
Yeah. Well, he's a good guy. We'll see. He's like all of us. He's gotten old, and I got to be very careful as to how I word everything.
Well, talk real low. Maybe he won't hear some of your jokes.
Well, he can't hear good.
Yeah, I know.
Figure out which side it is that he doesn't hear well.
Every time you see him, he's got on a tie. We're going to Ketchikan, Alaska, with all the coaches and Jimmy Rain fish, and we meet him in Seattle, and we're going fishing. He's got on a cotton picking tie. But I'm going to tell people, what people don't know, it's a clip-on.
I believe that.
I can't wait to hear Coach Saban tonight, because usually he doesn't get up and try to be funny.
I really don't think these 6 guys that he's got doing it are going to roast him. I think they don't. I've got to make it a little bit entertaining, which I'm struggling trying to do. And he is. I don't think the 6. Woody's not going to. Tommy Maxwell. He's got a guy from the Dallas Cowboys.
Dabo may get after him a little bit.
Well, the one thing I was going to use, and I practiced it with some of them, and they threw it out.
Oh, Lord.
You want me to tell it?
Yeah, tell it. Let Cecil judge whether you should use it tonight or not.
As you know, he coached for the St. Louis Cardinals.
Yeah.
And I was going to say, after the Dallas Cowboy guy got up there, that we had invited somebody from the St. Louis Cardinals, but they wanted to come and do more than roast him. Because of his record. And they said, no, don't use that one, thank you. Yeah. Don't use that one.
He's a little sensitive.
Oh,
He's a little sensitive, but
and you wouldn't think that. You know, he comes across as gruff.
He tells this one on himself. You know, he said he went in. He's at Texas A&M, and of course, he's a young coach and had some success. But it's a tough place back then. You know, it wasn't even co-ed, and it's a tough place to recruit to. But if you know Coach, you know he's got a stubborn streak.
Oh.
He went in, you know, after they decided to make a change, and he was talking to a guy who was a friend of his who was on the board of trustees, and they were talking about it and you know what had happened over the last 3 seasons. And you can hear Gene say this. He said, "Well, I wouldn't have done a single thing different." And the guy from the board said, "Well, we'd have fired you again."
Yeah, I want to tell you something. You're exactly right. You know, and he doesn't. You know, the thing about it is he doesn't like ropes. And I told him the other night. I said, "Well, Jimmy, you should have told Jimmy that you didn't like it." And he didn't answer me.
Right.
You grew up like Dad is gruff, but gruff people are sensitive, aren't they? See, so they act like they're gruff, but they're really sensitive.
That can be. That can just be a way of sort of covering it up.
Gene,
again, and I would say this to anybody. Yeah, Gene Stallings has a heart of gold. Man.
No doubt.
He's done so much for people, but now he's got a way. He sees the world in a particular way, and if you don't see the world in that way, you know, then that means something's wrong with the way you see the world, not the way he sees the world.
Right.
Yeah. Well, Cecil, we appreciate it. Go get those dogs out and get them walked. Thanks for getting up with us this morning.
I'll talk to you all.
Thanks, Cecil.
Thank you very much.
You.